Okay, hello everyone. My name is Amber. I am the Senior Legislative Aide for Senator Hicks Hudson. I want to give a brief introduction of our guest today, who is Avis Files, the Director of Family and Supportive Services at Pathways Toledo. Um, Actually, sorry, let me back up. Thank you for being here. Um, Deja will probably say just a few words too as well, and we have Senator Ingram on the call. Senator Hicks Hudson may be joining a little bit later. And like I said, I just am going to give a brief introduction to Avis Files, who's the Director of Family and Supportive Services at Pathways Toledo, which is a comprehensive services organization that serves Greater Toledo area. And she does specifically a lot of really vital work in the area for families, fathers, um, generally to have secure and healthy lifestyles in the area. So we're very glad to have her joining us. Um, Deja, if you would like to say anything, and then we'll just let Avis jump right in and tell us a little bit more about Pathways.
Just thank you all for being here as always, and thank you so much to Avis for joining us today to share more about the work she's doing up in Toledo. So, whenever you're ready, I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Thank you so much. And there's not two Avises on here. This is actually, well, it could be. She works as hard as I do. But this is Lydia Hollingsworth, who works in one of our programs, and I thought it'd be good if she shared with you as well. So my name is Avis Files. We're going to pull up a video, and thank you, Senator Ingram, and of course, thank you to Senator Paula Hicks Hudson, who is just a jewel for me, has always been supportive of our work and just being there for me. I knew who Senator Paula Hicks Hudson was because she was our mayor. And I had a conversation with her once before when she was our mayor. But then I was in a meeting just expressing my frustration of doing this work, and she heard me. And she has been listening to me ever since. And so I appreciate her allowing me to have voice and the support that she has given us to do this work here in Lucas County. So Pathway Incorporated, Brothers and Sisters United, this is our programs, and we are a part of the designated community action agency here in Lucas County that is designed to reduce poverty and to help people become self-sufficient. That's our goal and mission as an organization. Next slide for me, please. And mind you, all of the pictures that you see are from our participants that are in the program. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and what they represent. But first, I'd like to say Happy Black History Month. Our Brothers United and Sisters United Facebook post. This is one of our posts that we shared this month. And I just love it, right? I just love this little boy and love what we're about because we represent our work is really foundationally for the children. Next slide for me, please. Pathway Incorporated, Brothers and Sisters United, Fatherhood and Motherhood Program. We believe that children are important. So every day we support and advocate for fathers and mothers because when children have involved fathers and mothers, the whole community thrives. That's our 1 minute message. That's our statement. That's what we believe in our core and in our heart. That's our value. And that's how we do our work every day. This little girl on the picture, by the way, is about 8, but her picture is still cute, so I still keep using it. We do, just in case there is some question, we do indefinite photo releases with our parents, so we can continue to use these pictures because we want to show the progression of that these children are growing and thriving with their mothers and fathers. Next slide for me, please. The importance of the fatherhood involvement. So I would be remiss not to share my heart for this work comes from the foundation of fatherhood. I am a fatherhood practitioner, and yes, I happen to be female. I've been in a fatherhood field for 10 plus years, just working at the importance and the strengths of fathers being involved in their children's lives. And so, as you can see, even as we open up this diagram that has been put together by the National Fatherhood Initiative, immediately talks about infant mortality and low birth rate. Weight. So when we want our children to survive, our goal is to make sure that the fathers are involved so that they can play their role which is helping to keep babies alive by making sure that mom is taken care of mentally, physically, and financially, and also making sure that mom is taking care of herself as she is eating, sleeping, resting to bring the baby. But once again, every social ill that you can think of is listed here. I say we solve the social ill with one word. People have tried other things, and I know those other things may or may not have written, but 30 plus years of leadership in the fatherhood field tells us that we can solve it by just using the one word, father. Next slide for me, please. So let me talk to you a little bit about Brothers United, which is our fatherhood program, again, which is our foundational piece. And this is how our program started. So Brothers United started in 2015. In 2014, myself and some millennials, really young millennials at the time, they're going in their 40s now, but some young millennials at the time looked at some data. We were working in a healthy marriage program, and we looked at the data as we began to serve more fathers in that program. And it dawned on me and those millennials that Toledo really needed a fatherhood program. So we applied at the federal level through the Healthy Marriage Responsible Fatherhood grants that come out of HHS. And we won $8 million in 2015 to begin our work with Brothers United. We chose to work in the 10, what I refer to as opportunity neighborhoods, which some people would call the hood, but I call them opportunity neighborhoods because they have brought us an opportunity to make change, to develop families, fathers and mothers, to develop families, and to really, really make a difference in our community. Our logo and our brand is the only hood I claim is fatherhood. We have that on the back of our t-shirts and on the back of our hoodies that we have, that our staff wear. So this program started in 2015 with a $8 million grant from Health and Human Services. And we did a randomized control trial with young men who were 20 to 24 years old. And we did that from 2015 to 2020, to which we produced data. We actually took some fathers through the program, and some fathers got nothing but to give us data and answer questions for us so that we could see the difference of fathers that we served and who we didn't. So some people would ask the question, why would you, as a Black woman, do a randomized control trial, and in particularly on Black men in Lucas County? Well, first of all, we did it because we knew we could. We had studied the land and what I call surveyed the land, and made sure that we knew that most fathers that are 20 to 24 years old don't usually leave the city. We knew we would have the opportunity to track them for a 5-year period, whether they took the program or didn't take the program. And then we would be able to produce data that would show an impact that would actually catapult us to doing the work here. Just a little bit of information: in Lucas County, there was no data on fathers prior to our work that we had did in 2015. And in particularly, no data on Black fathers. There was just a statement that said Black young men who have babies usually drop out of school. And that was done by our family council here in Lucas County in about 2013 or 2012, somewhere in there. And so this gave us a leg up to be able to say we could really produce some good data for Toledo, Lucas County. We could learn some things and then understand our work. So Brothers United's been in existence since 2015. This was our last cohort that graduated. As you can see, all of our fathers get a Brothers United shirt when they graduated, and they become part of what we call the BU Nation, which is a nation of fathers that continue to do the work that they need to do in the community to not only be there for their children, but to also be there for their community. We also, in Brothers United, serve young men who are age 12 to 17. It was important for us at about year 5 to start to look at the prevention end of the work. So we also serve young men in this program as well. So that they get in the program with us, and at the prevention end, they can listen to things and learn things about being a father. And do you really want 5 or 6 kids? Or do you want to think about this and wait and learn some other skill set? So that's what they're learning as they work with the fathers. Next slide for me, please. Here's just some thoughts about what our fathers say about the program. We use social media a lot. This is part of our social media campaign. We call it Father Friday. And what we do is just take quotes from the fathers. We do gather data. So we do a pre and post test with all of our curricula. We use an evidence-based curricula by MPCL with Dr. Johnson, who's out of Washington, D.C., who's had several federal studies with his curricula. And as well, we are master trainers. And so, we have trained in the curriculum and we're master trainers and we're able to do the curriculum with the participants. But here's just some thoughts of fathers. He says, Brothers United taught me that raising a child is not just one person thing. It takes a whole entire village. And that is exactly what we believe. And then this father who took our Brothers and Sisters United program says, BSU gave me the tools to be a better father and to think about my children's future and how I can remain present in their lives. It is important for us to have the fathers use their voice about what they're learning and what they plan to do with their children. So we use that on Fridays. If you have an opportunity, you can join what we call the BU Nation on Facebook, and you will see these posts, usually every Friday. Sometimes we get busy, but most Fridays we get it in. Next slide for me, please. So, Sisters United, the birth of our Sisters United program was birthed out of our Brothers United program. Once again, as we did this randomized control trial, we had the opportunity to always ask fathers for their voice. What could we do different with the program? What they liked, what they didn't like. And that's the thing that kept us in a space of continuous quality improvement. And so if we had fathers that didn't like, we served a lot of food. So if they didn't like the chicken, then we stopped going to that place for the chicken and went somewhere else. If they felt like just whatever they felt. And one of the resounding things about in 2019 that just kept coming up was we need to start the Sisters United program. As a matter of fact, I was challenged to begin it because of a young man who was about 18 years old who sat across from me and said, Miss Files, you need to start the Sisters United program. And I said to him, young man, of course I understand that. We've been hearing that for sure. And I said, but when I get an opportunity, I'm going to do it. I'm just really, really busy. He looked at me and said, if you don't do it, then who's going to do it? And I don't really do well with threats or anything like that or challenges. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so even in the midst of doing that randomized control trial, we got a small grant because I believe in building foundational work. We got a small grant from our Toledo Community Foundation. And what we did from Toledo Community Foundation was we took and we did women who were 20 to 24. It was just a pilot. We did 50 women ages 20 to 24. But then my phone started ringing and all the mothers who were 25 and older were mad about the services and asked me why I didn't provide it. And I thought, okay. So we finished that. And then the Stranahan Foundation, which is part of the Toledo Community Foundation, saw our work and offered us the $50,000 grant to continue the work. So we kind of upped the number, we changed the age, and again started to go to work with our mothers at that point. As you can see, once again, these are participants in the program. We do photo shoots. So sometimes we go to their homes to do the photo shoot or we're at the park, but we do photo shoots of all of our participants at least 3 times a year. And we use that to brand our message and to brand our work. Next slide for me, please. I'm going to mute and let Coach Lydia talk a little bit about her program, which is the Sisters United, which is a special part of the Sisters United program. She'll share that piece now.
Good afternoon. I am Lydia Hollingsworth, a Sisters United coach and case manager. So Sisters United is a virtual parenting group for mothers only. We are 8 days, 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Zoom really works for us because we are looking for those pregnant mothers or those mothers who had newborns from 16 to 24. Most times participants have just had a baby and hop on Zoom to join us. During group, we talk about values, why they're important for us, motherhood, womanhood, and set some goals. This is a picture of our December graduation. And to the right, we have a story that I wrote about one of my participants that is published in the Sojourner's Truth. We actually received Miss Meredith as a participant because her co-parent completed our Brothers and Sisters United group. And shortly after he completed the group, He was unfortunately fatally shot in Toledo. So we rallied around her. We carried her right over to Sisters United. She's graduated and she's doing well. So that is one of my participants' story. And then to the left, we have one of our participants with her 3-month-old baby.
Thank you, Coach Lydia. And we say coach because it really is a case manager, but it just kind of works to have a coach instead of a case manager, providing and linking them to services, brokering, advocating. And as the Coach Lydia shared, we were able to rally around this mother. Actually, we helped to, with a local church here, we helped to bury the young man. We helped to work around her. She is now actually also involved in with some initiatives here with the mayor around what's happening with crime in the area, and is just leading the way with a really, really very strong voice about making a difference in the community. And that's her goal, to make a difference and be a light and life to young men and young women, as she is a single mother now raising her baby. Yet we are very happy and pleased of again, what we say is love without end. So the love of the young man. What's interesting about her story, about Miss Meredith's story, is that sometimes people would have the illusion to believe that Black men are not present with their children, that they don't take care of their children. And he had not missed an appointment with the doctor at all. He went to all her prenatal appointments. As a matter of fact, he was murdered just about right before she had the baby. And there was a couple of more prenatal appointments. And she literally said, I don't even know how I can go in here without him. He was at every single appointment. So we like to tell the story as well, because we like to shut down some of the myths of what people think about our own Black mothers, Black fathers, and about their presence in the community. Next slide for me, please, and with their families. So Brothers and Sisters United began in 2022, and this is our co-parenting program. What another data point that we found out is that our fathers, and we continue to have these data points, we continue to look at the work that we're doing, ask ourselves the questions, what can we do different? And these fathers, this mother and father took our program, and Brothers and Sisters United began in 2022, just as a co-parenting piece. They kept saying, it'd be good if we could get together. Sometimes co-parents are together in group and sometimes they're not. But it is very interesting to see what happens when you put men and women in a group that are having open dialogue about what it means to parent, the importance of parenting, being hurt, how to come out of that, sometimes not choosing the right co-parent. And what do you do with those feelings? What do you do with your values? Just a myriad of questions and answers. How do you solve anger? How do you deal with anger? Because we know that anger is a secondary emotion. So how do you deal with your secondary emotion? And so these are just what we use. Once again, we have Mother Monday that we put on social media, and then we have Father Friday. And so we feature these. And because of where we live, people know people. So they're able to say, hey, is that I know them. And then they call us and say, if you could help them, then surely you could help us. So a lot of times that's what happens with our Brothers and Sisters United program. But our Brothers and Sisters United program now is being funded through our health department. And so we have a subcontract that we work with Healthy Start participants to help them. And Healthy Start is our home visiting program. So we have two community health workers. One of our community health workers just graduated last year at the state level, and she has her, like, it's an associate's degree in community health work. And then we have another community health worker that provide the services, and then we provide this co-parenting group to moms and dads who are 0 to 17 months, because we know when we get it early, we can solve a whole lot of issues when we work with them early on. Next slide for me, please. Lastly, our Saving Black Babies Consortium that just began this year in October, connected to the health department. I am chair of that, and we are working on 2 special issues. We just completed a community needs assessment. I'm kind of weird like that. We did a community needs assessment in January, and we got it finished too. We interviewed over 180 people, 180 mothers, and only 30 fathers, so 210. I was very disappointed about that. that, but that helped me to see from the fatherhood standpoint what our community looks like, what our home visiting programs look like, and the emphasis that we need to focus in on ensuring we can get just as many mothers as fathers in doing the survey. But we are focusing in on two social determinants of health, one being economic stability and the other healthcare access and quality. One of the things around the economic stability piece, we found out that 49.4% of our participants are living in what they refer to as unstable housing, by either it being unsafe, it being able to struggle to pay rent, or in homelessness. But so we're really going to focus in on that and then speak to our community and see what we can do to do that. This Saving Black Babies Consortium is being led by professionals at this point, but we do have 4 community women on there, and we have 2 men that we're talking to. The problem is with the men is that they work at Jeep and all these other places. They work 12-hour days. So I'm literally having to do one-on-ones with them to keep them involved, but they are still involved and helping us to kind of figure this out and having the community's voice. So the goal is for the Saving Black Babies Consortium to have a voice, not only at the Healthy Start space at holding them accountable to do their work and how effectively that they're doing it, but also to speak to the community around economic stability and access to quality health care. Next slide for me, please. Any questions or comments?
Hey, Avis, I just wanted to jump on here as we do get into the questions for everyone. Just for everyone's information, if you have any questions that you would like to ask or comments, you can add those to the Q&A. And I always just like to remind everyone, if you're on a phone, the Q&A box is at the top of your phone. And if you're on a computer, it should be, I think, at the bottom of the screen. But you can type in your questions there, and then me or Amber can go ahead and read those off if you all have anything. And thank you so much for your presentation. That was very informative, and I'll just give people some time if they have any questions.
Thank you.
In the meantime, while we're waiting, this is Senator Ingram. I just want to say again, as Amber and Deja have already said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for that presentation. It was really very important for us to hear those kinds of things with the kind of work that we're trying to do here at the State House, and with things changing the way that they are. And so we just need to make sure that we're looking at what the needs are. So thank you for your needs assessment too, because we need to make sure that folks understand, and I love the Fathers Program, that this isn't about deadbeat dads and that's why everybody's on welfare, and that's why everybody's got Medicaid or whatever. Lots of poor people work hard every day.
Absolutely.
What they have to understand too. So this is important for us to make sure that we're examining what's really going on in the lives of the people who live here in Ohio, especially.
Thank you so much.
We are still waiting on some questions to come in, but I actually have one that I would like to ask Avis. And first of all, thank you so much for that presentation. It was very enlightening, just as Senator Ingram said, I think very well. You addressed a lot of, I think, sometimes assumptions that are made about low-income families that just aren't true. Like, people want to be present if they have the ability. And you talked about a lot of programming, so I apologize if maybe you had already walked through this and I just missed it. But I am curious what your day-to-day programming in those cohorts look like, specifically for the one where you join mothers and fathers,
Sure.
and how, yeah, like, what is the help that you offer? Because it seems like you have a really robust program going.
Yeah, sure. So our co-parenting program looks like this. So we have, again, what we teach is MPCL, motherhood and fatherhood curricula, and they literally mirror each other. So one of the topics that we start with is values. So that's like our day one, what is your value? What do you value? And so we talk about things like this. So the fathers are in one cohort and the mothers are in one, and they do that for those 5 days. And we talk about things like, again, values. So what is your value? And so we have, of course, the value is that I want to be a good mother. And so then we break out and we have these little boxes that we say, what do you value? And one of those boxes is getting high. So we say, oh, do you value getting high? And well, sometimes we get women who say, yeah, I value getting high, and fathers too. So we're like, oh, will that help you be the best parent if you're high all the time? We just asking. We always say, because the latest saying is we don't judge, we listen and don't judge. And I say we listen and don't judge day one. But after that, we're asking questions. And so then at the same time, while the fathers are learning this, the mothers are learning this. So they go through this track of different topics, values. What is motherhood? We have a discrimination topic. We have a child support topic. So very, very topics who speak to our community, which is why we chose Dr. Johnson's curricula, because we wanted to make sure it spoke to the people that we're serving. So they do that, and then they come together on the second week. We usually end the first week on domestic violence. And domestic violence is a very heavy day because we're talking about what really happens, and what the court says domestic violence is, and really what domestic violence looks like, the actual definition. And we walk through that. And we begin that second week with a story that we call the ILAC story, which talks about a little boy named Andre who has experienced some trauma from mom, dad, and grandma. So we talk a little bit about gatekeeping and what that looks like, and how, it's two people who had the baby and how you can work through those things. Our co-parenting curricula actually helps participants to create their own parenting plan that they can actually take to court themselves. And we've been very successful with co-parents doing that. Or sometimes we'll get the mother and not the father, and then she'll call him. Well, we kind of do it in a sneaky way. We do ask, when we do intakes with people, we ask them what their co-parent's name and phone number is, and they actually go on our call log and we call them. So sometimes we have those co-parents in groups together, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes co-parents are parents. And so we take them through that piece. We talk about anger, conflict resolution. How do you resolve conflict? What can you do different? And every day we're asking them what their takeaway is. So if you're in cohort and you talk about values, and we tell you what values are, and you say, my value is to be the best mom that I can possibly be. But through conversation, we discovered that you have some things that are not helping you to be the best mom that you can be. What are you going to do different? And so the coaches then are constantly listening to that. And when they have their coach meeting, they're reiterating the curriculum, and then they're helping them to push and move along. For instance, if you stressed out, we have a list of counselors, and we in particularly have studied some Black and Brown counselors in Lucas County that we make the referral to. And so if you're stressed out and you think you need to talk to somebody, we want to connect you to that counselor. And so it's very grassroots kind of what I call code switching um, kind of work, if that makes sense. So I'm auntie. And if I come to group, I'm gonna talk like auntie. So that kind of thing. Any other questions?
I actually had a question as well. So I loved learning about all of this, and I think the big thing for me that I took away from everything is just how important it is to listen and like be a part of the community that you're serving, and the fact that you all were there, you're in the community, you were able to see the need, you're a part of that community. So I think that that's also something to consider when we are trying to address these bigger issues, that sometimes people from the outside, not necessarily the outside, but people elsewhere might look at a community and be like, oh, they know best, when it's like, just, it's always important to consider those people who are actually in it and experiencing those situations first and foremost before like coming in as a outside person. So I think it's great that y'all are like grassroots, in the community doing this work. But my question for you was, you said how the pictures you were showing and stuff, you're like, oh, we know this child, like we keep up with these folks. So I am curious what it looks like when someone does complete the program, and kind of what that ongoing community after the program and what that looks like, and how you bring others who are done with it now, or what does that look like ongoing for folks?
Yeah, so we have built a community, right? We began to brand with these t-shirts. And again, our father's shirts on the back say, the only hood we claim is fatherhood. And our mother's shirts, the mothers actually came up with their own slogan. And as a matter of fact, I went to Church's Chicken to get some chicken. See, this is a piece. And I pulled up and it was my original mother who actually gave us the slogan, "We are mothers united as sisters." So it's four women I started the program out with. And I said, hey, we need a slogan like the guys, so y'all got to come up with it. And so they came up with that, and I pulled up to get my chicken, and I said, baby, how you been? And congratulated her and said, I'm glad you're still working. The babies are, how old are the babies? They're getting bigger. So it produces family for us, right? Like it is just a really interesting concept. I was afraid, let me be clear, I was very afraid when we started to give Black young men in Toledo, 20 to 24, a t-shirt. Because one of the things I was afraid about was that something could happen. These guys are gang members and all kind of stuff. And I said, I do not want them to be a part, it's for our brand to get out, to be a part of something negative. I will share a story with you that we've seen a lot of different things. So I've been to more funerals than I would not like to have been in. One of the most heart-wrenching stories came at seeing some children on television who had the father's shirt says, "I am a BU baby," right? And so the pictures flashed and they said, there's been a shooting. And these three young children who all had a BU shirt from their dad had been shot by the mother's boyfriend. And only one of them lived. The baby lived, the rest of them died. And so on the news was these children with "I'm a BU baby" shirt. And people were flooding my cause saying that their father shot them, but he did not. It was actually the mother's boyfriend. So the mother had got caught up in some stuff and she got kind of put in a situation where it was a retaliation to her. And so these children were shot. And I have probably more stories that just off the top of my head that happened. But so with that being said, then we rallied around that because we are a family. I'll give you a recent story. I have a Hispanic man who graduated in 2018. He just called me recently because he's on kidney dialysis and he has two children and his wife is working and they're at jeopardy of being evicted because he can't work. And he said to me, I graduated your cohort in 2018, and you said to us if we ever need something to call, where I need something. That meant a lot in 2025 for somebody to call you back to remember that you said you would help. And I'm working hard. So if y'all pray to God or whoever you pray to, pray that I can get some housing for this family and get them some help. I got a 2-week hold on the landlord. I asked him to just give me a week or two and I would make it happen. It's gonna happen. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but that's the kind of power of the nature of family that we build. So I'd say we call it BU Nation and SU Nation, just a nation of fathers still working in a nation of mothers, and we just make family, and it just kind of happens.
Yeah,
I
thank you
would,
so much. Oh, I was just saying thank you so much for your response.
You're welcome.
yes, thank you. And I actually had a follow-up question. I think specifically those last two stories that you mentioned, which are difficult realities of working with low-income families. Um, there's no doubt about it. It's always like there are particular challenges that come with working with low-income families. But when you were talking about the curriculum that you use, when you laid out the co-parenting curriculum for us, to me, I was stricken by how much I think those are topics that families from most financial backgrounds could benefit from. And I think a lot of times when we hear stories about people's upbringings, sometimes those same things come up of like, even if parents are together, not always knowing how to manage co-parenting, not knowing how to manage anger, not knowing how to make what they value as being a good mother or father align with how they actually live. And I know you mentioned that now, though you started with the federal grant, completely separate from Lucas County government, you are now working with the Lucas County Health Department. So I'm wondering if there have been any conversations, if you have any interest in finding a way to expand your curriculum to other demographics, or if right now you are very just explicitly focused on those low income areas and families.
So we do serve on our fatherhood program. It is not it's anyone that can be served. The basis is that our foundational work was built under working with low income. I'm kind of a person like this. Where's the need? Where's the biggest need? And one of the reasons why we've been successful in our program, because we talk to our participants. What works, what doesn't work, what do you need? And so, yes, absolutely, we could serve everybody. I did fail to mention, and I'm so sorry that our Brothers United Fatherhood grant is out of the Ohio Commission on Fatherhood, and we are in Erie County now. So we are putting our footprint. So we are actually taking the model, the Brothers United model, and recreating it in Erie County in Sandusky. So some people say, why did you choose Sandusky? It's just little and it looks like Toledo. So we knew we could put our foot in there and really make a difference. But yeah, so I believe that this program, of course, could be duplicated. It could be in with any population of people. Yet it's a funding issue for sure. But I definitely believe that. I think we've set a good precedent at working with the population. We have enough data to be able to say we know that these programs work. We know that they work because we have been in the community doing this work. Just as a side note, I spend my time as well. I am also a contract with the federal government. So I spend my time as well taking what I've learned in Toledo, and I go to all kind of places, Columbus, Cincinnati, North Carolina, Florida, and I'm actually using the tips and tools that we learned in Toledo to recreate and brand programming and to show them how to do grassroots projects. And some of them are federal projects as well, working with them to teach them how to do recruitment efforts and retention efforts and things like that. So absolutely, I believe that this work should be, it's for everybody. It would fit the mold for somebody who has $100,000 in co-parenting issues. We like to help Kanye West. They need some help too, but it's the same kind of principles about how to navigate communication and things like that. So absolutely. Any other questions? Next slide for me, please. And then that's all. So we thank you. We thank you for your time. We always appreciate the opportunity to share our heart's work, what we believe. I thank Coach Hollingsworth for joining me as well. My team works really hard. I have a team of 10, and you would be amazed that this is a team of mostly women, women fatherhood practitioners and motherhood practitioners who do the work in this community. But we appreciate the opportunity to share. We don't take it lightly. We take our work very serious, and we hope that we've said something or done something in a way. I will respond by ensuring that I send you our latest community needs assessment that we just finished, and then talk about also share our plans for the future, which is some focus groups and other things coming this summer. We got to wait till it get a little warmer when people come out and pull those numbers in. But we hope to do another survey soon before the year is out, just to be able to share that with, this is what we said in the winter, but this is what it looks like when we gather this data in the summer. We are 10 years clean, and I would also be remiss to not make a plug. We are selling our hoodies. They cost $60. We will send you the link from there. Please buy your father one, your brother one. You can even wear one too. We wear ours, which say the only hood that we claim is fatherhood, and it's our 10th year commemorative hoodie. So we'll send you that link as well. And we thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. It was really a pleasure to hear from you and all the wonderful work that you do. I had a general idea of what you do, but I will say that you do a whole lot of stuff. So you're doing really good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace and blessings to everybody. Stay warm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.